Good day, everybody. Thank you for being here with us today. We will have the follow-up of the presentation with the past International President, Elizabeth Benham, Liz, about ethical considerations in our organization, which is a very important topic to talk. Liz Benham has been in BPW since more than 30 years ago. As I mentioned, she was an international president, previously vice international president, and twice BPW USA national president, and she supports BPW International in many tasks. She is an entrepreneur and very active member and founder of BPW Florida. Immediate past president of BPW USA, actually, and it's my honor to present to you today Liz Benham. Liz, the floor is yours.
For this invitation to talk on a very relevant subject that we have going on in today's world, most organizations, and even in our personal lives. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm going to be talking tonight on really our organization, which is first and foremost, because that's where we've all, as leaders, spent a tremendous amount of time. And our organization, of course, is called the International Federation of Business and Professional Women. And in most countries, it is the National Federation of that country of Business and Professional Women. With that comes a huge responsibility, I believe. When you have a title of an organization such as that, it has to live up to what it is professing and what it is got in its mission statement. So I always like to go to the start and to the root of everything to say, what is our mission statement? The mission statement of our organization is basically that we develop the business, professional, and leadership potential of women on all levels. And we do that through advocacy, education, mentoring, networking, skill building, and economic empowerment programs and projects around the world. That in itself covers this vastly dynamic international organization, multicultural in some 100+ countries. It's a very brief mission statement, but it does give us the guideline of what we are to accomplish in it. And with that organization comes structure, comes rules, comes accountability, and leadership. And all of that generates into then the trust and respect that we gain with humility. So the issue about ethics is that first we are driven as leaders to seek to serve. It is not to self-serve, it should be to serve. And it requires that, and it encompasses that privilege that we accept as a privilege to be able to step into a role of true leadership and to really make a difference, because that's, after all, the end game. You want to be an ethical leader, and you really want to make a difference, and you want to serve. So for that, it is important to understand that as an ethical person or an ethical leader, you have to have your own moral standards, your own ethical compass, and you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, if what I am doing, is that espousing and is that reflecting on acceptable ethics that is recognized as transparency, honesty, integrity. And that's where it starts. It starts with us and the mirror first, because we can be actresses and we could espouse that we're doing the right thing and everything is just wonderful, wonderful. But truly, is that the case? So it requires, as ethical leaders, regular self-evaluation. And that self-evaluation is, am I doing what I espouse that we are supposed to be doing? Am I mentoring? Am I using integrity and inclusion and all of those things in my daily work as a leader and as an ethical person? So self-evaluation is critically important. The other thing that is kind of thrown into our organization, into this big basket of all the things that we like about it, is that we're an organization of multicultures and great diversity. That's, I think, what we have to understand, that is the glue that keeps us together, because it's that wonderful richness of all the professions, all of the business, all of the things that women do so well that we admire and that we use under this umbrella of our organization of business and professional women. So it's important to do that self-evaluation. And then we have to also look at value. Are we providing value as a person and as an organization? Do I, as a leader, provide value every day in my education mode? Because we are, as leaders, in education mode constantly. Not critical mode, education mode. There's a huge difference there. So we have to look at what value is being recognized or accepted from what we're doing. And that's critically important if you want to build a solid organization on a solid foundation of value, of ethics, and things of great take-home value to the members who think that this is the best organization that they could belong to, that they're going to put their time, their money, and their energy into. So that's the value we have to look at. We also have to look at how transparent we are, because good ethics is about transparency. And transparency means that in many levels, you are transparent in your decision making, you're transparent in your governance, you're transparent in your relationships with people, members, anybody, you're absolutely transparent with that, and that you do not fall into the trap of the things that really pull an organization down, which is nasty gossip and things of that nature that really begin to spoil an organization and to spoil credibility and to spoil the respect and the trust that we all want to have and should have and get when we've worked in that framework. So transparency, and then to incorporate collaboration, because we can think that we are the best in the world. There's nobody like us. We can be all superwoman, yes, but we never do it all alone. We do it through the complete collaboration with other women, like-minded women, providing the diversity and that respect that we take in from that collaboration, and the trust that develops then when we work with people who we have vetted, because we've all had the experience of working with colleagues who didn't always pan out to be quite the true blue person that we thought they would be. And so then you get into a mode of wandering and losing respect. And that's a very bad thing to lose, is the respect of people, especially in a leadership role. And so it's all of these things of ethics is not just one thing, but it's a basket full of these items that we're discussing that make up ethical, leadership and ethical people. But there's also, on the other side, for the members have the same responsibility, not just the leaders, but members have the same responsibility to be there as ethical people, to collaborate in an ethical way, to be transparent, to be counted on, to provide value, not just to get, but to also give. And the biggest reward is always when you get back from what you've given 10 times over, not just in accolades and things of that nature, but just huge respect for the work that you've done and the accomplishments that you've managed. So it boils down to really some humility. Humility every day is part of the makeup of ethical people, where they're not afraid to make a mistake, not afraid to admit they've made a mistake, not afraid to admit publicly they've made a mistake. That is true leadership, because we're human and we have to accept that. And from the members' point of view, it's up to the members not to be critical, because this does go both ways. It is a win-win situation between members who take responsibility in an organization and leaders who take up the pledge to serve and have that privilege of serving and trying to do the best in terms of making a difference. So it's a partnership there, and members have to take that same responsibility. So this discussion is not purely on leadership in the leaders and ethics in the leaders, but also ethics in an everyday member and what their responsibility is. So what is the responsibility of members? Well, it is to be respectful, I think, number one, to acknowledge that leaders are there to serve and can make mistakes and are allowed to make mistakes because they are certainly human, but also to be non-judgmental and not critical constantly, because you may be sitting in that seat of high supremacy, listening and gleaning from everything that's coming your way. But if the seats were turned around, would you like to be treated in a way that is not respectful when you have made a mistake and have admitted to it? So I think that members need to really think about that. And there should be, well, we do actually, when we have a new member ceremony, we try to, instill in the member that responsibility of joining an organization that's prestigious, and to seek to be there as a collaborator, to support in the ongoing vision and mission of the organization, and to do that with joy, to do that with harmony, and to do that with respect, and provide value in everything you do. So I think, when you get to a meeting and there's a clique of members, one of the things that I think that happens that is so not professional is that women tend to click together, that it's sort of like birds of a feather flock together. So yes, that's very nice, but the mission is not to have a social evening. The mission in our organization of business and professional women is to provide something of value. So when we come together, that's what we do. We provide value. We sit and we provide great input. We get from our leaders and from speakers and from those who are presenting value to us, we get that. But what do we give in return? We need to take that, build on it, and build the collaboration together, that we appreciate that. Because life isn't easy, not for any of us, not anymore, I think. I think life used to be very easy when you could go outside and milk the cow, bring your milk in and just have breakfast, and there's no computers and no emails and no jobs to do for the day and so on. It was just some good labor, and at the end of that day you have a good rest, or you're tired out and you can go to bed peacefully and restfully. So the point then of all of this in terms of ethics is it really boils down to each individual. How do we measure and how do we monitor our ethical compass? How do we monitor our decency? How do we monitor our collaborations? How do we monitor the mission and vision that we all like to see? How do we monitor that? And I say it is, again, looking in that mirror and doing self-evaluation on a constant basis. How am I doing? Am I doing okay? You know, do I like myself? Because when you look in that mirror and you don't like yourself, I mean, that's okay. We don't all like ourselves every day, but surely you like yourself in what you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing on a platform where you are obliged and have, you know, made a commitment to make a difference. So then it boils also to, I think, at the end of the day, we would need to look at ourselves as leaders and as members and as individuals and say, after it's all said and done, am I proud of what I've accomplished? What would I have done differently? How would I have behaved differently? And one of the things that we don't want is to be remorseful and be sad about what we did or didn't do. I think the best reward that we could feel is that we have a sense of fulfillment, that we're proud of what we did, proud of how we interacted with people, proud that we really made a difference on every level where we operate and work, study, and that we are left with a sense of peace. And the bottom line is always to remember, am I leaving this in a better place than how I received it? Is my job now, has my job accomplished more? Has my work accomplished more than it was when I first stepped in? Or did I just have a free ride and take advantage of everything but not do the critical work that's expected of ethical leaders? So that's what I'd like to leave everybody with, is just think about the day when it's all over. Think about when that term of office is over. Think about when you're sitting in your rocking chair, talking to your grandchildren, your granddaughters, telling them about this wonderful organization that we belong to, or the organizations that you have belonged to, and where you had an opportunity and the privilege to serve as a leader and as a member. And what happened with it? Did you have joy out of it? Did you make a difference? And are you left with that sense of fulfillment and peace, knowing that you did your best? Because as long as you've done your best, that's all we can ask for as a human being. And as women together, we can just ask for you to give us your best. It's not the same for everybody because we're all very different. Again, that's what brings us together. That's what the glue that keeps us together is, that we are different and that we respect that difference and we build on that difference and collaborate with it. And together that makes a really, really powerful and strong voice and a really powerful and strong organization that's built on good foundations from good leaders, because it comes from the top down, not always from the bottom up, but it helps if we meet in the middle. It really does. So with that, I'd like to conclude and say thank you for my opportunity and the privilege that I've had to serve over the years. I hope to know and think that I've made a difference. I continue to strive to make a difference ethically, using all of the tools that we've been given, our rules, our accountability, and our trust and respect that's been given to us. And when we've earned it, we like to keep it. And in that way, we will be sitting in that rocking chair feeling fulfilled and peaceful. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope really that it's been of value to everybody. Some tips for ethics, personally and in leadership roles. Thank you.
A great big thank you to Liz Benham, past International President, for her wisdom and expertise in this area of ethics and ethical considerations for an organization such as ours. It's a critical and even the bones of an organization that we have ethical leadership. And sometimes that goes wrong, and ethical considerations have to be brought before a governing body. Sometimes the governing body is part of the problem. So we may have a need for an ethics council or committee or board that can determine and report on such incidents should they arise. Something for us, all of us, to consider. Thank you all for your attention to this series, and we look forward to greeting you again soon.